Whether you're giddy for Glencadam, mad for Macallan, or geeky for Glendronach, there's something for everyone in the January Sherry Pack from the fabulous Bottle Split Society. Hi there, my name's Lewis and welcome to the Neckpour. This is the whiskey review channel where I give you my thoughts and opinions on a particular bottle of whiskey from the Neckpour down to the Dregs, or just my thoughts and opinions on all things whiskey related. You join me here for something slightly different today. It's my first tasting of a tasting pack, as it were, and from the Bottle Split Society. So a lot of people, you might not know what that is, but it's a fantastic group on WhatsApp run by a guy named Vlad. I'll pop a little link up there to a little bit of a chat he had with Hardy over on the Whisky newspaper. If you want to watch and find out a little bit more about Vlad and why he's running the thing. But effectively, it's a whiskey swap group and a whiskey sharing group. People arrange lots of dram swaps. I've done a couple on there. And Vlad buys bottles that he wants to taste and puts together either themed packs or just parcels them out as drams for people to buy. On top of that, there is also monthly tastings with brand reps, etc. And yeah, I've been lucky enough to taste some really cool things through the group, and it's a great way of tasting things I wouldn't have got my hands on elsewhere. But this month, the January kind of themed pack was all about sherry, and we go through it from start to finish. I've ordered these purely based on strength because that's my preferred way of tasting through things, going from weakest to strongest in that order, just so I don't burn my palate out up at this end and then can't taste anything down here. To start with, we've got the Macallan Night on Earth First Light. We've got the Glencadam Reserva PX, the Glenallachie 12-year-old, the Glendronach Ode to the Dark, and an SMWS 95.100 Spice Surprise 16-year-old, and that's an Okroysk. So yeah, without any further ado, let's get the first one opened. So these are all 50 mils, and the whole pack was £28, which I really think is a pretty great price. And we'll start with this Macallan Night on Earth, the First Light. Save myself a nice little bit there. Great thing about a 50 is you can always come back to it. You can go for 2 drams nicely, and I can go for 2 little ones and still have something for my infinity bottle afterwards. Let's get this up to the nose. Very woody. Something I might say a few times tonight. There's a bit of sherry on the nose. And so yeah, this is one of their Night on Earth series. This one's First Light, and it's to commemorate the first sunrise in New Zealand. It's like the first light of the furthest east place of the new year. Bourbon and sherry cask with 43%, with £99. We're probably chill filtered. We're unlikely to be coloured because I don't think Macallan ever used colour. And yeah, it's pretty nice on those, pretty inviting. Classic sherry notes, super sweet, loads of raisins, loads of baking spices. Not bad at all. Super, super, super smooth. I know it's a stupid word. It's a word whiskey people hate. But that is really well smooth. It's really well put together. It's really easy. It's really simple. But there's still plenty of flavour. I mean, as much as I like to disparage Macallan because I think the prices they charge are ludicrous, I think 99 quid for that, it's a lot for 43%. But it tastes good. It tastes really good. It's really elegant. It's really smooth. It's really approachable. Again, heaps of baking spice, Christmas cake. The mouthfeel is very light, but still very enjoyable. There's no oils to this. There's no fats, nothing like that. And yeah, it's not bad on the palate. The finish, very short. You can tell how much has been filtered. You can tell how much it's been watered down. It ends quite quickly, quite abruptly, but that's a very nice drop and a really nice way to warm up. Not sure I paid 99 quid for it, but it's a very accomplished dram. It's enjoyable, sweet, silky, and yeah, you can have a real good time with that, but not one you spend hours and hours analysing. We're sort of down at the other end of the spectrum now, with the Glencairn Reserva PX. Now, I love the Reserva Andalusia, which is the Oloroso version of this same thing. And then there's an American Oak Reserve as well. It's a series of the kind of budget entries from Glencairn. The American Oak is just bourbon cask, whereas the Andalusia or the PX are then finished in whatever they are. This one obviously being the PX version, with 46% natural colour, non-chill filtered. So we're up with the stats that we want. And yeah, this one being the darker Pedro Jimenez casks. That's really interesting on the nose. So I'm getting that lovely light apple fruity Glencairn spirit at that nice young, youthful, punchy age. And then I'm getting this dark, grapey, heavy, thick sherry PX. It's a really interesting combo. It's like having blackcurrant jam on top of a freshly sliced green apple. Really interesting nose to this. And let's have a little taste. So there's a little hint of youth to this, I will be honest. It's not a finished whiskey, shall we say. I mean, I know there are some versions of this now that are coming out in single cask, and I think there's a plan to have a 10-year. I saw on an interview with the guys from Glencairn. But just the depth of flavour to this is just huge. There's those lovely floral, fruity Glencairn, that lovely light spirit profile. And then there's just this absolute truckload of heavy, dark, thick, sweet compounds just coming through one after the other into your mouth. And it's jams, it's sweets, it's almost a kind of muskiness from that kind of dunnagey sort of thing coming through on the palate. Just an absolute sort of bang, bang, bang. And it washes all that freshness out. And then through the finish, it's just more of those sweet, decadent, rich flavours. And compared to this Macallan, just that oiliness, that richness, the way it happens on your palate and through your mouth is just lovely. I'm just going to have a little sip of water here, just to try and cleanse the palate somewhat between. I'll go back to that Macallan just for another smell and another little taste. Yeah, comparatively, just that extra little bit of strength and that lack of filtration just adds so much more kind of fullness and body to the whiskey. Because this doesn't have any of those youthful notes. This is wonderfully crafted. And in that sense, it's better than this. This does have youthful notes. It has sharp edges. But this has heaps more character. This is big and powerful. And this is £47. This is half the price of this. And for me, this is a much better experience. Although that's great. That's more kind of easy drinking lightness. This is more sit down and have a think. But let's move on. We've got the Glenallachie 12 for this one. And this is the second darkest of the whiskies. With $59.99 for this one. Oloroso, PX and Virgin Oak, and with the first age statement of today. Again, we're still at 46%. And yeah, Glenallachie, made famous and loved by the wonderful Billy Walker, known for a fantastic wood policy, as well as a bit of a bigger, meatier spirit. So I'm expecting this one to be powerful. For 46%, that actually smells hotter on the nose to me. I'm getting a little bit of alcohol on that, which compared to other 46% I've not got before. That virgin oak's really standing out to me, probably, on the nose. And there's a little bit of that old school Oloroso flavour to me, that slightly almost sour, slightly tannic, slightly rancio sort of thing going on there, which I really, really like. It smells a lot more savoury than both of these two. But yeah, let's get this in my mouth. That's really spicy compared to these two. It's that virgin oak. I'm getting lots of wood spice, lots of barrel char. And then coming through, I'm getting a more sort of, it's those same sweet stewed fruits, but much more savoury. Almost like where this was a jam, this is a chutney. Because there's that bit of vinegar in there, there's the bit of onion, there's the bit of, it's a lot more, savoury on the palate in a really intriguing way. This has got my mouth watering, actually. I can't wait for another sip. Because, there's that sweet virgin oak spice. There's a lovely, slightly drying tannin. And then it's a sweet chutney. It's something to go alongside a cheese, rather than to have more as a dessert. That is a lovely, lovely, lovely dram on the palate. Through to the finish, gets a little bit spicier, and for me, very tannic on the finish, really drying my mouth out, really pulling everything forward. And we're starting to get a hint of a sort of dark chocolate here, or a coffee bean, that sort of drying type thing, which, that's really, really well put together. You can taste the age in this. It takes away any harshness, it's much more mellow. Despite smelling boozier, the actual way it hits you, super smooth, super friendly, and that, absolute corker for 60 quid. Yeah, really big fan of that. My first time on the Glenmorangie 12, and might be looking at a bottle, that's for sure. Then we're on to the Glendronach, the Ode to the Dark. This is the first one that gets up to a big strength. We're over 50.8%, £72.25. That was what I could see this for online. Again, all these prices, I've just had a really quick Google and looked at something. I don't know if any of them are on sale. I don't know if anything other than I just wanted to give you guys a price so you could see just how much it would have cost me if I'd have picked up all these as full bottles. This is super dark. This looks like it's full maturation in a PX cask, from what I've seen online, as opposed to a PX finish like this one. And we're, that bit stronger. I don't know whether that 50.8 is full cask strength or not entirely sure. And then being a Glendronach, it's natural colour, but they won't say they're non-chill filtered because there was some fallout between them and the Scotch Malt Whisky Society. So not quite sure. This is back to non-age stated. And that is just dark, dark, dark on the nose. The smells like being in a dunnage warehouse. There's earth, there's wood. And it smells old-fashioned. And then there's just a little hint of sweetness right at the back. It's not overwhelming. When I go to this one, that's so much sweeter on the nose. This is more a hybrid between these two. It's starting to get that old school sherry thing, that slight rancio, that slight noble rot. And smells lovely, really intriguing, fantastic colour to say that's natural. Let's get that in the mouth. And crikey. After the first sip of that, I'm pretty sure that is full PX cask maturation, because that is grape juice. 100% sweetened grape juice. You're talking Ribena mixed with whiskey. I don't say that's a bad thing at all, but that is sweet, sweet, sweet. That's not even jammy. That's not anything like that. That is fresh, squeezed grape juice. You're talking a little bit of wood on top of that. And then you're talking just a little punch of that alcohol right at the back of the palate. Really interesting. And there's a slight old school funky note as well. But yeah, sweet, sweet, sweet. If you've got a sweet tooth and you can find yourself a bottle of this, because I'm pretty sure it's discontinued, pick one up, because that is really, really interesting. But I'm not sure how deep that is, you know, in terms of layers and unpacking things. It might be a little one-dimensional. But yeah, big PX heads or big people, big sweet tooth people, this is one for you. Finish is just more of the same. The wood and the tannins come through a lot more on the finish, but it's just sweet, sweet, sweet all the way down. It is getting a bit more sort of jellied on the finish, as opposed to it being more sort of fresh on the palate. And yeah, that wood, that dryingness, that tannin really comes through at the end quite strongly. But no, that is, wow, probably one of the sweetest whiskies I've ever tasted. Don't know whether that's a good thing or a bad thing. Then lastly, onto the only one that I know is definitely cask strength today. It's the Scotch Malt Whisky Society 95.100 Spice Surprise 16-year-old. So we're the oldest, and this is an Okroysk on this one. £92.50, so the second most expensive bottle here today. 57.2%, so big, big cask strength to say how old it is. And this is bourbon, Oloroso, and virgin oak on this one. So yeah, it's I believe this was a bourbon cask or two bourbon casks that were sort of 13 years into one of them into an Oloroso cask, one into a heavily charred medium toasted or heavily toasted medium charred virgin oak cask, then married back together, then bottled into this. But yeah, really, really held its strength well. Will be natural colour, non-chill filtered, being SMWS. Doesn't smell hugely sherried on the nose. I'm getting a lot of bourbon, a lot of virgin oak compared to these. I'm just going to take another little sip of water just to prepare my palate as best I can. But yeah, I'm getting a lot more of the sort of traditional bourbon notes, the virgin oak, those kind of wood sugars, tannins, caramel, vanilla sort of things here, with just the lightest hint of that sherry in the background. But maybe I'm just a little bit sherried out after all of this. And so by the time I get to the last one, which might be the least sherried of the lot, I might be struggling to pick it up. The alcohol is wonderfully integrated to say this is a shade under 57.5%. I wouldn't have thought this was much more than mid-40s. To me, that's still probably boozier. That's probably boozier. That's definitely boozier than that. That's so well integrated. But yeah, let's give it a little taste, see what we think. Oh no, there's the sherry. Wow. So when I thought on the nose there wasn't that much sherry, it just comes through like a steam train on the palate. Mixed with that virgin oak, giving it that real intensity. This is rich, it's oily, it's big, it covers the mouth straight away in oil. And it's like marzipan, we're nutty, we're sweet, we're fruity as well. There's a lovely kind of, it's a marzipan wrapped fruit cake is this, because you've got those spices, those dried fruits, you've got a bit of fresh apple in there, and it's just a blanket of marzipan wrapping the whole thing. Wowzers, that is such an exciting whiskey. Yeah, that is sublime. That is absolutely sublime. And I mean, it's the oldest on the table, that's for sure. It's the second most expensive on the table. But that is an absolute corker. And through to the finish, we just get creamier, sweeter, and more long and velvety as that goes through. There's no bite to it. You could give that to an absolute beginner and they'd have no problem at all, despite it being a big strength. But no, that is cracking whiskey. So yeah, a fantastic expression of sherry. From something light to something heavy, from something pretty cheap, under 50 quid, to something 99. A great selection. And 5 bottles I'm not sure I'd have picked up. PX isn't my go-to, so I wouldn't have picked this up. Glendronach, non-age stated, I'd have never picked this up. SNWS, I very rarely buy things from, because I'm not a member. Glenallachie, I've never picked a 12 up to date. And Macallan, I can really take it or leave it. So these are 5 things that have only come to me because of the society. And that's what I think is amazing. For all you guys that are interested in finding out some more, I'll drop the link to join the WhatsApp down in the comments. Please do feel free to click on that. The one thing I will say is I'm certain, I've not double checked with Vlad, but for shipping, tax and legal reasons, I'm almost certain this will be UK only. So anyone that isn't in the UK, I'm sorry, this one's probably not for you guys. But for 28 quid, I think this is an absolute corker of an experience, something you can share with another person, have your own little tasting, and just exposes you to a range of whiskies. And for me, this has been a roaring success. There's been some great whiskies here, and I can't wait for the next pack. Luckily, only next week, there's the first Bottle Split Society tasting that I'll be attending, and that's with the Octave. That's next Friday, the 27th of February. That one is sold out, which is great news. Not for you guys, but for me, who's got a ticket. And then following that, there is another one coming up on the 27th of March with Integrity Malts. And there are a couple of brilliant looking whiskies on that one. I think there's a 22-year-old Highland Park. There's a couple things that are being drawn from their casks exclusively for the tasting, a single grain Circumstance and something else. And I believe there is a peated Bunnahabhain as well that I'm really interested in trying. That's £22 plus postage and packaging on the 27th of March. And yeah, to find out more, hit that WhatsApp link I'll put in the comments. Join. If Vlad approves you, you'll be able to buy a ticket for it or pick up some of these drams. But yeah, other than that, I'd just like to say thank you all so much for joining me here today. It really does mean the world to me that you take time out of your day to spend some of it with me. If you've got any thoughts and opinions on this particular range of whiskies, or there's anything else that you think would make this the perfect 6 dram flight, drop that in the comments below. I'll be sure to get back to you. Or if you've really enjoyed the video, please do hit that subscribe button and that notification bell so you're informed next time I post. But other than that, till the next time, I'd just like to say cheers, Salancha, and I'll see you again.